This is the United Public Radio Network.
Welcome to Paranormal.
Hi, and thank you all for joining us today.
What's out there? What creates the shadows in the corners or the creatures of the dark? Who are those on the other side? What do they have to say? This is the Gateway Podcast. This is not your normal style of paranormal talk radio. Brought to you live from United Public Radio Network, 107.7 FM New Orleans.
Tune in to UFO Undercover, Wednesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern, with your host, Joe Montaldo, right here on the Paranormal Radio Network.
I had enough.
Well, you drove out there into the middle of nowhere and had some sort of loud verbal display challenging ET in general out in the middle of nowhere?
That's what I was doing. I actually had a pistol in my hand at the time. I was really ticked off. When I was having this fit, I was waving the gun in the air, okay, and I had this fit. And at this moment, I said, okay.
He was a Louisiana man named Montaldo. Folks around called him Six Gun Joe. Worked with ICAR, don't you know? Investigating UFOs. Out for a drive with a gal one night, they stopped to check out the reporting site. When an alien lit right there on the ground, he commenced to throwing his weight around. Now, old Six Gun didn't take too kindly to that kind of thing, especially without Vaseline or anything like that, you know. Seriously. Well, Six Gun looked that critter right in the eye and said, "Any last wish before you die?" Yo, reached for his gun, quick as a twitch, and said, "Fill your claw, you son of a bitch." Now a legend spread across the land about this pistol-waving man. But if you're from space or from Earth below, you don't give no lip to Six Gun Joe.
Hello. Is this UFO Undercover? Are you sure this is? Where the hell are we? Is this like a time warp or something? No. Oh, it is UFO Undercover. Hey, everyone, welcome.
Sure enough, it is.
Undercover. Yes, this is UFO Undercover with Jay and Joe. It's a double J night. What do you mean we need a third J? The triple J's. We had the triple J's at one time. I forgot who it was, but we did. We could always invite Jeffrey.
Yeah. We could invite him. Will he come on?
He'll come on. He's been on UFO Undercover. Now, you ask him to come on News and the Flip Side, he kind of hems and haws.
Or any of the political stuff. Yeah, he's loath to get on that, you know.
He loves to talk politics. You just got to get him going.
He does briefly, you know, and it's usually anti-Trump. He likes to call him Trumpel Gooch.
Triple gooch.
Triple gooch.
Before anybody asks, we're talking about Jeffrey Pritchard from Church of Mavis. Yes, he's been with us a long time, so we can pick on him.
Church of Mavis, as you see right down there.
Yes,
COM Fridays at.
He's the May babe.
7 Central.
Yeah, he's the May babe. No, he airs before us on Friday nights. Some nights Jay's got a long night because he's doubling up, just like I do on Saturday. He's doing on Sunday. I mean on Friday.
Yeah, luckily I switched co-host duties with Wham, Professor Wham. She gets on there, and she's a smart lady.
Yeah, Whammy is. Oh, and Whammy likes to talk politics. Get her going. Ooh, she like a firecracker, man.
She is a firecracker.
Janine, you can. We're all over the place tonight. No, we're on both the YouTube pages, so you can find us there. We're on both the Rumble pages.
Yeah.
You can find us there. We're on the Roku page, so you can find us there. And Jay's got us on one of his and one of mine with the long hair and the iCar page. Yes. Yeah. No. Oh, well, you know what? I might switch that to United Public Radio after a while, but right now y'all can find us on the iCar page. It's Facebook page. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Just type in International Community
International Center for the
New Jersey. No, so say that center word. It's a dirty word. I know. I ain't talking about David Jacobs. We're gonna have to send the aliens over to see him tonight. I can see it coming. Anyway, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to United Public Radio and UFO Undercover. Now, this is the third network UFO Undercover has been on. Yes. No, I mean that I've owned. It's syndicated. I think. Oh, I'd have to go look. Last checked, I think it was 38 AM and FM stations born around the United States. Might even be more than that now. Probably around 56. Yeah. Yes, they do pay us. Yeah, they do. And that pays, that pays for other stuff in the network. That's what that pays for. Yeah, well, one of these days I'm going to make Jay and I and Michelle rich, and we won't know what to do with ourselves.
Yeah.
We'll just travel around and give lectures like George Noria and them.
Oh, hell yeah.
I don't know if this is true or not. A friend of mine wrote to me yesterday and said that I don't know if was it Art Bell's brother or brother-in-law is going to start his own new podcast and is lining up all of Art Bell's old guests and stuff. He said it was to clean up Michelle's mess. I'm not going to say her last name. If y'all don't know who I'm talking about, then you're not a loyal Art Bell fan, so don't worry about it. Yes, well, she's been on this network before many times. Yeah, actually, we almost brought on, and then we had some kind of weird. The night we were auditioning her, we had all kind of weird audio, so we're like, nope. Took it as a sign. Well, y'all find that. Her name's not actually Michelle anyway. Her first name is Heather. Yes, I'm sorry. I was just torturing people, but I always liked it. We always got along good, but some people lose it. I hear, and that's all I can really say. I haven't talked to any of those people in 3 years now, so I don't want to. Let's just say I don't want to say anything that they may be involved with or not involved with. But yeah, y'all can find out if it comes out. I'll let you know. I got the email actually this morning. Actually, it was a messenger, wasn't even an email. Well, I get so much more stuff on Messenger now than even in my emails. Like on these shows, people love to message me on my Messenger. I think now because Facebook lets them all go into one messenger, it's so much nicer. Because all three of my personal pages now, I can be seen on one messenger. It's so nice, especially when we're doing shows. Yes. But you do know, ladies and gentlemen, if you happen to be on like the news on a flip side page or United Public Phrase and you're messaging me from there, you could just type us in the show chat room. I know. It's called being lazy, but okay. Y'all are spoiled. That's what's going to happen when Mark Zuckerberg goes bye-bye and this becomes X number 2.
Right.
For some reason, that just did not have a good ring to it. I don't even know what to tell y'all, people. It's one of them things. It's who's your favorite alien? That would be the guy from Mars.
The guy from Mars.
The uncle.
Hey, Stone.
It was like from like 1950 or something. my uncle's a Martian or some shit. I don't ask me. I wasn't alive back then. I'm just
Right. Well, I mean, it's funny you mention that because I've been thinking lately about some
my
of the.
favorite Martian. That's the name of it.
Well, that's a good TV show, but there were some very very kooky UFO groups early on, and like especially like and they were gathering in the desert somewhere outside of Vegas, I believe. When it's a 1951 2 or 3 interview, and it's in black and white, and these people are just nuts. I mean, you can tell they're nuts because of the way they're talking. I have to try and see if I can find it. I'm not sure if you know about it, but the one guy talks about the aliens he's talking to are from a planet called Vega, which is a moon of Saturn. And they're like outside of Vegas. So like, come on, you can't be any more original than that. It was just the most bizarre interview I'd ever seen in my life.
But a lot of those were like that. That's how Valiant Thor came to be, and a bunch of the other ones. And I was kind of like, it always bothered me that these aliens always had human names. It just always bothered me.
There is the 2 that are EBE 1 and 2, and then what's the third one is Jar Jared.
Yeah, and I think that's just some names some goofball gave him.
And I think that EBE 3 would have been his name, and I think he chose Jar Jared.
Well, maybe he did. It's well, we don't know, Kirby. We really have no idea. I was talking about this the other day with somebody. So why, if the government knows so much, why do they feel the need to do so much military abduction? Why do they feel the need to have to take so many contactees? If contactees aren't real, why are the government so interested in them? Why are they taking so many of them? What, you mean threatened? I've been threatened more times than I can count. Mainly to do with alien agendas and refusal to.
You only had to be threatened once in respect to this research, and that's enough. I mean,
it's hard because humans have a tendency to do that, Well, it pointed to that sky right there, so that's a Orion. Okay. All right. Well, first off, one of those stars in Orion. I mean, no, come on, guys. Orion's a long ways away. I don't understand why we just assumed that these aliens were going to just have the same name. I guess maybe we just call them that, like Palladians, because they're from the Palladian system. But I doubt that's their name for it. Hell, they're telepathic. They don't even. So here's another one for you. So we know most of these races are telepathic.
Before we go on, you mentioned Orion. Did you mention how the names of the belt stars are so similar to those of the pyramids? So the stars are Alnitak, Alnilam, and Mintaka. Those are the 3 belt stars, and they say the 3 large pyramids at Giza are mapped out like those 3 stars, and they are Khafre or Khufu, Cheops, and Menkaure. K or CH and M. A and M. There's
just mapping along. Well, they're just mapping along.
There's a pattern. There's a clear pattern there.
There's a clear pattern, and then plus it lines up with the constellation at 12,500 BC. That's all crazy stuff. I mean, none of it makes any sense.
I believe Robert Bauval's actual date was 11,500 BCE, somewhere in around March or June. That's when the lion would look directly at the Sphinx, and the 3 stars of Orion would and light up like candles.
But I know the last time they said they were perfectly in line was 12,500 years ago. That's how long it's been.
Yes, but the actual alignment of the stars, I think that's the date. That's the tentative date that Robert Bauval and was it John West and that group, Robert Schoch, those gentlemen, they did that in the 80s, I think.
Yeah, but there's been a one of the big whatchamacallits did it just recently. They've got it. Who the hell was it? It was the ones in Hawaii. I can't think of the name right now. It's one of the big observatory systems out there. It's one of the ones. I think it's on Mount Kui or Keu, whatever it's called. There's like 5 of them. There's like 5 of them up there. They were doing it. They were mapping it backwards. Not just that, they did it for 21 known things on our planet that would be considered have celestial alignments, including places like Angkor Wat and the Seven
Yeah.
Sisters. I mean, the Easter Island statues. It's just amazing. I know there's 9 for sure that we've been knowing about a long time that line up with their constellations, but only at 12,500 years ago. They come close other times, but they're not a perfect lineup. And
Yeah, and to be honest, the computers they were using in the 80s with, I mean, they were using Apple II computers. I mean, just regular straight. They weren't using industrial strength computers.
yeah, these guys up in Hawaii, if I use a 24 core,
had some people help them build, and that, I'm sure it wasn't completely accurate, but it was still very intriguing information, and we've improved on that with today's computers. No
yeah, well, there's no doubt that these monuments line up at this time period. The problem is how did the builders know? Because most of this stuff was built 6,000 years later.
Yeah, and why would
not all of it now, not all of it, but a lot of it.
Why would you build them to line up with those things? 2,000
From
years
a past
after
period,
or longer.
Oh, longer. So with the Sphinx, it was probably only about 2,000 years, or even less. But with the pyramids, it was at least 6,000 years. So I mean, you understanding a procession's one thing, but then you got to go backwards. It's not even just moving and wobbling, dealing with everything with the plan of moving and going forward. It's hard enough to understand that, but now you want to go twist it and go backwards and come up with these dates and these times. And I'm sure there's always going to be arguments over the months of the year, something to do with spring. It's not even the months, it's the season. I think is what they argue about, spring, summer, or fall. And I'm like, I don't care. The fact that we're talking 12,500 years ago is plenty good enough for me. I don't need an exact date. It would be nice to have one. And if these guys are right or somebody else comes up with something better, that's all fine. And I'm not going to fight with them about it because, frankly, I don't have those kind of skills. But it's still to know that somebody built things on this planet that line up with a dead path and understood that's what they were doing. I mean, how do you know that?
And the people that try to debunk these, I mean, Angkor Wat you brought up, it's like that's the snake. It lines up with the constellation Draco. Is that correct?
Yeah, Angkor Wat does, yeah.
Yeah, and again, at the time like around circa 12,500 BC, that's very significant. Why would you build something to mirror that on the ground?
How the hell did you even? I mean, first off, how the hell did you even know how to do it? Secondly, what was in your ancestral brain that said we have to build this to line up with it?
You have to have advanced mathematics, the type of mathematics we use to get to the moon and back.
Oh, at least. I mean,
the kind of math that requires the use of a slide rule and shit like that. Pardon my French.
Yes, I mean it's just. I mean this is. Look, I'm not. I mean, the Chinese had their calculator for what 3,000 years now, 3,500 years or so.
They invented the abacus somewhere. I don't know when, but it's within written historical times.
So it's we understand some of this stuff, but still, you know what? Chinese were great, and they built the Chinese wall, but they didn't build any great pyramids or anything like that.
And allegedly, the Chinese wall is one of the few man-made objects you can see from outer space.
Yeah, and that's just because it's long and wide. But I mean, if it's lit up, and plus it's lit up, so it makes it easier.
It's lighter than the ground around it.
Yeah, so it's and I'm not taking it was a feat, man. I'm not taking anything away from it. But we build walls all the time. Come on, we're building one all the way across the bottom of our country right now.
Yeah, but
if you Canadians don't behave, we're going to build one across the top.
Their country was way bigger, and it still is. I mean, it's crumbling and it's destroyed in places. But good Lord,
I don't know why China would let that happen. It's such a historical value, but I guess
they have enough people, though. Technically, right now, if they were to rebuild that they could man that wall and keep that border closed. If they were to choose to go back to that type of mentality.
Yeah. But it wouldn't matter to us. We just launch a nuke in the inside of it. Keep all the dead people in one place. Only an American would think about that. Because it's, I know it was a mean thing to say, but I was raised, if you're going to fight, you fight to win. You don't fight to lose.
Yeah.
And, if you puddle yourself into one spot and pigeonhole yourself like that, then 4 nukes.
oddly enough, one of their oldest fighting methods, Wing Chun, which is the style that Bruce Lee learned, and then from that created his own style called Jeet Kune Do. Wing Chun is what you see Donnie Yen doing, where he stands like that, and he just waits for people to attack him, then he breaks their bones. The philosophy is to stop the fight as fast as you can. So A, you don't expend too much energy, and B, they don't die and you don't die.
It's well, that's just
Great
how it is,
philosophy.
people.
It really is. I mean, it's fantastic. Make the fight stop before it begins.
Janine, come by Friday night and I'll tell you why wars go on as long as they do. It's not for this show, but it has nothing to do with aliens either.
No.
Just human behavior.
I'm sure the aliens do have some sort of tactics. I mean, they're using them on us right now.
Oh, the aliens don't care about us. They look at us like. Actually, I'm pretty sure the Greys. I'm pretty sure the Greys are kind of like, did we do something wrong to get stuck on this planet? I really do. I think because when you understand what a Grey truly is, this planet is very inhospitable to them. First off, the species alone, and not just ours, a lot of the other ones are very hostile to little Grey things. Let's just be honest about it. Plus, our climate is much different than where they come from. Obviously, the light is much different. The gravity is much different. This is just not a comfortable place for them.
This is kind of, I mean, I don't know the answer to this, but the movie Alien Nation, which also became a television series, and a pretty good one. The premise in that those aliens our ocean is toxic to them, like hydrochloric acid is to us. So to put their body, our ocean is to kill. They can fresh water is okay, but salt water, it's like acid to them, and it kills them. So that may not be exactly the truth of any of the alien species that are visiting our planet, but for some of them, it is somewhat true that our environment is a little toxic to them. Like they can't.
It's funny. I was watching an episode of Alien Nation the other night. It was the one where they were playing Russian roulette with the salt water.
Oh, shit.
The little spin and then it shot out and hit her in the chest. Yeah. It's oh, people things strange. Well, no. So we talk about racism and all kind of stuff, sexism, all kind of stuff on our planet. But aliens show up tomorrow. We're gonna all be best friends, all of us. We're gonna be like, oh yeah, we love all of you. We even love you, Cubans and North Koreans. We love all of you people. Oh, you're human. We really love you.
Well, I mean, I think we've already opened up the portal to be friends with Cuba again. So
no, we're gonna annex Cuba. I already know it's coming with Cuba. I shouldn't bring that up. Yeah. That's a Friday night. Y'all come see me. I'll tell you why that's gonna happen. So I'm just telling you, just come check it out. No, with all them kind of questions, I see you just saving for Friday night.
Maybe we ought to plug the show right now and just call it, America's Years of Expansion.
He's talking about news and the flip side. It's there on Friday night. Come check it out. Well, the flip side's in it because we don't always talk. Well, we always talk some current news, no matter what. But we do talk alternative topics sometimes. Ulterior topics. What the hell is that supposed to mean?
Ulterior. No. Ulterior. People in this room that have ulterior motives. Where did Bob go? Did you move Bob? Bob, there he is.
Oh,
that guy. He's dead. But his buddies have the ulterior motives, not anyone else in this room.
Somebody wrote to me and said, "Why do you always keep your chair in front of his eyes?" I said, "Because they're hypnotic, and if you stare at them too long, you're going to be like." Give Joe your money. Give Joe your money. See, hey, y'all want to stay? I'll let y'all. I can move over.
Joe, move.
Oh, thank you. I'm just saving you some wallet time. That's all.
They did that kind of play action in the recent Indiana Jones movie where the crystal skulls were kind of hypnotic and made one guy insane. As a matter of fact.
It's wait, what was that U.S. Army? What was that? What did he say up there? I seen it.
The saucers.
Yeah, because that's what they drive. Is the saucers. That's their drive. That's what they fly. Yeah. They fly several versions of the saucer too. The reptilians really okay. So the reptilians, I don't want to call it a saucer because It's like a saucer, but it's like if you grab the sides of the saucer and just kind of stretch it out a little bit, that's more what the reptilians fly. It's not a true saucer as like what the Greys fly. The Greys fly freaking disc is what they fly.
I think what the difference is that with the Greys fly is more of a. I don't know if they clone them or if they have some sort of like fishery where they grow these things or they become spaceships, but they're living objects that they control with their minds. What the reptilians use are physical craft they build with their hands.
They're click and bolt. Well, I say click and bolt, but
ones are bolts and nuts, and ones are not.
Yeah. No, Kirby, I say click and switch because it is, in the fact, click and switch. Even though a lot of their technologies run telepathically, it's still click and switch. So even though Marcus, the alien, is staring at the thing, his mind is thinking, turn this on, turn that on, turn this on, turn that off. It's still it's a physical type. The Greys are different. The Greys are interfaced with their ship. It's whatever they think the ship. It's all instant from both sides.
But the other thing with the reptilians, I think that they're a little bit more hands-on. So their craft, although can be and usually are operated telepathically, if need be, they can go hands-on.
I think both the humans and the Greys. I mean, both the humans and the reptilians still have a manned bridge. They still have people up there sitting in chairs flying their ships. It's a lot of it's just through thought instead of actual physical touch. But I imagine they've got things that pop out like the Enterprise when the joystick popped out on it. I'm like, wow, the Enterprise got a joystick. All right, I'm going to go fly this thing.
Or Sulu Station had that thing that would go and like his scanner. It was the same thing that Spock had, but he had to like actually make it come out of the console when he wanted it.
Yeah.
What do you think of what Army says about this?
What we got?
I think some of the less advanced saucers, ones with physical controls, seem to be traded and shared with other races.
Some of them could be. We know something was given to the Germans, and it was a saucer. But it wasn't a typical Grey saucer because it wasn't an organic ship. So it was a physical ship. That's what the one at Roswell is described as.
It wasn't a living creature.
So that's how we know it wasn't technically a Grey ship.
But
that's probably why the Greys were on board trying to help them figure out how to fly it.
The few people who said they've touched those type of crafts, they say that it's like feels like touching a whale. They're like the hand, like you could.
It's a very weird sensation, and a lot of people say you can feel them or sense them or hear them.
Not metallic is the main thing that they've the main takeaway. All people who have touched those type of craft say it is not metallic.
That's probably why the guy who wrote Babylon 5 was an abductee. Because it sounds almost just like a Vorlon craft, or even a Shadow craft.
Yeah.
Well, if you never watched Babylon 5, you don't know what the hell I'm talking about. That's all I can tell you. I just finished the last episode last night. What do you mean? Oh, I can't tell you. Have you ever seen it before? No, I can't tell you what the last episode is. Sorry, dude. You want me to spoil it for you? Okay, he died. There you go. Everybody dies. Everybody gets blown up. Everybody dies. Everybody. When she gets probed by alien.
One of the Star Wars, the new Star Wars movies, is that all the good guys and bad guys died at the end. They didn't play. Everybody died.
But I've noticed like the humans tend to have them triangle looking craft from anything from like a 30 by 30 by 30 or something larger, and then sometimes they'll even have some big ones, like the one that was seen out on over the island by Tampa. That thing was at least 2 miles by 2 miles, or probably a half mile thick. It was huge, just just chilling, Didn't even give a shit that anybody was out there around or anything, just doing its thing.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then of course, those rectangular pickups, those things drove me crazy for a long time because we'd always get these, they're cylinders, Joe. They're cylinders, but sometimes they got bumps underneath it or on top. This shit went on for like 10 years. It was making me nuts.
And sometimes those bumps go in and out of the craft.
Yeah. So one day I'm sitting there, I said, you know what? That's enough of this. We're going to give a bunch of contactees questions. What the hell are these things? What do they do? What are they? And the lady came back, and the first lady calls me. She said, they're ships. I'm like, what? She said, they're saucers. I'm like, what are you talking about? She said, they're saucers. Next morning, I had like 15 emails. They're saucers. I'm like, what? So So, guys, what they are is they're landing craft. They're I don't want to call them motherships because they only look like they hold about probably 8, maybe 10. On top and bottom. But that's why they're different. Sometimes there's one here, none here, none here, and one there, one here. It's just wherever it happened to be landed. And sometimes they're pulled in. Actually, from what I understand, they can be pulled in and the top can be closed.
What about the gray ships talking to each other? Is it AI computer system, or is it just living beings talking to two dolphins talking in the ocean?
Yeah, that's telepathy. That's what they're doing. That's some type of telepathy. I don't know if they're limited.
Is it the computer, or is it the living creature that is the spacecraft?
Oh, that is the computer. The living craft is the computer. It's all computer. It's all shipping. It's all computer. From the way it sounds like the cells themselves, each one is packed with the same information. It's just basically a living computer.
Well, Stoney's saying it maybe sounds like a TR3B possible triangle with pink hue underneath.
Yeah, well, I've been up close to TR3Bs a couple of times, and I've actually seen about 4 different versions of them. And then,
there were quite a few of them.
I got the blueprints that were given to me as a gift. So, no, I can't make it public because it's classified. My class. But anyway,
once they classify the craft, then no holds barred. But until then,
yeah, I would figure about 2 decades from now. Well, I told
once
my
you
son,
establish that there's already a colony on Mars and the infrastructure is there, and guess what? In 2028, you can go to Mars for the price of a ticket to Hawaii.
Well, I told my son if I kick over, I said wait till you start to see him flying normally. I said then you can release him. I said somebody will buy him for $2 million. That's what they'll be worth. I said because they're original drafts. It's no, I did this guy a big favor. Who scared the shit out of me for like 6 months because I thought he was a stalker. No, the story's public. You can go check it out. I just don't feel like talking about it tonight, but it's public. Yeah, it's on numerous shows. I couldn't tell you which ones because you'd have to go back and listen. But hey, if you were listening to my shows, you'd know which one, wouldn't you? You busted. Move along. It's well.
So this much I know that there is. And what's her name? Linda Moulton Howe has part of it declassified. Yeah, I know. But I think the pamphlet that somebody sent her on alien recovery, alien craft and alien recovery, like alien people recovery, I think it's fairly authentic. Do you think there's a recognition pamphlet for alien craft and who flies it? And I bet you the answer is yes.
Well, so we know there's actually pamphlets for a lot of things, which we found. Most of them got found out by accident, like the recovery one that the fire departments have. So in all fire department manuals, there is a piece in there about recovering extraterrestrial craft. It's not the only one, by the way. All the militaries have them. There's lots of these little things that get written in, but what does it actually mean when it comes down to it? Do we take it at face value?
Right.
That there's somebody running around retrieving spacecraft well, John, you got to look at it this way. So let's say we crashed an F-22 in Venezuela with 2 pilots. What's the chances that we're going to let the Venezuelans have that plane? Ooh, pretty much 0. Even if it was a crash in Russia, we would still fly a mission in to destroy the plane.
Well.
Yes. So, no, because it's technology you can't be allowed to fall into people's hands. So, when we were talking earlier about the physical technology, like the saucer that was given to the Germans by the humans, that they tried to do whatever they tried to do with, where a lot of their science came from, the one that we ended up in Roswell and tried to fly, we're the ones that crashed in Roswell. It makes you wonder who that craft belonged to. So we know it wasn't a gray craft because unless it was an old gray craft. I don't know if they've ever had click and switch or how long ago they've had it, but this was definitely switch and click and switch, whatever you want to call it, technology. The Greys were on board when they crashed that craft in Roswell when those 4 humans flying and crashed it, or trying to fly and it crashed it. That's why you found one debris field at Mac Brazel's ranch, and what was a Corona or Arizona? What the hell?
There
Aurora?
were
Was it Aurora?
there were actually three crash sites. One
But
is somewhere on either White Sands, Alamogordo, or Sandia Labs properties. The other is Corona, New Mexico, and the other one is just outside of Roswell at Mac Brazel's ranch.
well,
Those are the
that's
three
it.
impact sites.
No, maybe they had two. Maybe they had two escape crafts on board, which would make sense. That they had more than one. But they still found human bodies at the original site where they found the ship. And when they described they described it as a saucer, but it was something about the way he described the center was weird. It was lost. It was like it was expandable
Well,
or something.
the impact site with the craft is the first drawing was of a delta wing with a gash in the side, and there was a dead alien like hanging out of the craft, and two other dead aliens on the ground, and another one that was like barely hanging on for life.
And so that wouldn't have been a delta wing. That would have been the escape pod. And anything that broke up like that on hitting the ground would have been an escape pod. I really don't. I think any ship that can fly through deep space at anything faster than any type speeds of light and have the kind of inertial dampers that these kind of craft have, I can't see it just being ripped open that easily on a planet. I would bet you on 90% of occasions they would embed themselves into the ground.
Well, I mean, they'd have to have a material on a scale that's not on our elemental.
Oh, I'm sure they do.
They have to.
I'm sure they do. Well, no, there's actually stuff on our planet,
on our table of elements, that their craft in some cases are extremely vulnerable, just like ours.
But
we
think
know
of
their
it.
bodies are as vulnerable as ours.
Yeah, but craft on. But see, that's the difference, though. They're craft on. They're not stupid like we. They don't go flying around with things in space that have little aluminum foil on the sides of them and little.
Well, no, yeah, but I'm just saying that we still have to assume that their craft are, particularly the living being craft, they probably must be way more vulnerable to gunfire than like the reptilians' metal craft.
Well, no, because they actually absorb it and use the energy against them. That the more energy applied against a Gray's craft, the stronger it becomes, not the weaker. See, that's the difference. So you're still thinking in human technologies, but these guys weren't using our kind of technology. They gather and use that energy. And you can tell by the Greys, because the Greys, we know they feed on a plasma. We know the ships run on a plasma. We know they feed on a plasma. So we know all energy does is. That's not even
piercing device.
That's not even going to get through their shielding system. That's going to turn to dust.
How do you know?
It's because they're going to have anything. Because you have to, Jay, you have to get micro. You ever heard of micrometeorites?
Where they use slower technology to get through the
Yes,
shield.
but you're not thinking these things have to fly through micrometeorites. They've already got technology that takes care of that. You know, they imagine anything that flies through space is nothing down here is going to be able to hurt it. Let's just be honest about it. Anything that can cross the cosmos, there's nothing on this planet's going to phase it. Not any radiation, not any type of electricity, because it's experiencing all that while it's in space. Not any of that stuff's going to bother it. And if you can do light speed or faster with micrometeorites hitting you, then I doubt anything's going to phase you on this planet whatsoever. Matter of fact, I would be more worried that if the craft was big enough, it could actually do physical damage to our planet.
Yeah,
that's what I'd be more worried about that. No, it all depends on technologies we're talking about here.
Well, I mean, if you notice, they don't usually show the Enterprise flying through the atmosphere. It's the ship itself is too big, they say.
Yeah, it does, because it can do damage. You warp out, rip the atmosphere off the damn planet. It's so I mean, there's plus just the reactors alone would probably do an ungodly amount of damage. But they have crashed the bitches once or twice, so
yeah.
I guess after they ejected the get out, they threw the good part out and then crashed it. What's that, Raymond? No, when it comes to these, so the humans and the reptilian technology is really is going to be, I don't want to say a steel based technology. It's whatever It's whatever these ships are made out of. I don't know. It may be some kind of plastic like stuff as far as we know.
So yeah, some kind of polymer or something that
We,
they've come up with.
it's obviously there's some, and we don't know what type of shielding they have on these. We're not thinking this is like Star Wars technology or Babylon technology. We're thinking more along the lines of Star Trek technology where they have shielding.
Yeah,
Not, the ship itself is solid, but besides that, it has all kind of other protection on top of that. So the ship's built to take an impact, even a phaser impact, but still be able to survive. And then with its shield, it makes it pretty much invulnerable to anything. So I don't know. It just all depends where you are on the scheme of technologies. It's not that there couldn't be ships that come here from other worlds that would be vulnerable to our technology. There probably is. I just don't think they're allowed to come here because we instantly get our little fingers on that. And then
well,
that could start a interstellar war, which the Greys ain't gonna let that shit go. And they're gonna be like, "Excuse me, no, we did not bring you here. We did not do all it is to watch you start an interstellar war. No, that's not gonna happen. Why do you think we're here? To keep the reptilians and Greys from getting into one."
the one ship that we have the best description of comes from Bob Lazar, and it's the ship I put in the background. It's the what they call the S4 Sport model.
That's awesome.
He only saw two levels: the main level where the control deck, and then the deck below that where the gravity reactors were. And then he assumed that there was a rod that went all the way through, and becomes that thing, that spike coming out the top, which is part of the reactor that makes the shielding in the gravity generating speeds, the faster than light motor, if you will. But one cool thing he said is, if you build the model, it has like a spider web arches all the way around the top of the disc, and you can paint them clear or you can paint them silver. What Lazar said was that these panels could become windows, and you could see directly out what was, like a regular window. I think that piece of metal became clear, and then it was also a heads-up display. So on the sides of each of those panels, and they went all the way around the top deck, the main deck, was like heads-up displays, like computer displays in their language. So how cool would that be? If all of our cars had that. Some cars do.
No, Jimmy, that would be click and switch technology. Yeah. It's hard.
The craft that Lazar touched was actually a nuts and bolts kind of thing. It's nothing that we could build, and wasn't built on this earth. But if he's not fibbing, and I don't think he is, that's kind of fantastic. I want one of those.
If it's supposed to be the same one.
Cool.
It's supposed to be the one the Germans had. It's supposed to be the one we crashed. That's what they said. It was the one that we crashed, and there's no damage on it anywhere. That's everybody who said that the saucer that was recovered had no damage on it anywhere. Well, I don't even think it was going fast enough to get damage. I mean, we're talking something that went up and went to wobbling around from what witness said, and then something blew out the back. Now we understand what that was. That was the escape pod. Now we know what that was. And the damn thing just went down.
Cool.
Yeah. So I don't, as far as I know, they only seen one, but it might have been two at one time, as far as I know.
It's from the research. I mean, I still kind of diverge with you on as to the actual what thing happened, but between Stanton Friedman, Charles Berlitz, and Jim Mars, there were three impact sites and one craft and three craft recovered, three full craft.
Well, Jim, that ain't what Jim ever told me. Jim and I talked about this a lot too. He felt like that there was a main craft and two small craft. That both of the other were some type of recovery craft. That they weren't a main craft. That they were two alien craft. But they weren't. He said the one that came down in Corona or wherever it was, Aurora, was big. It was solid. It was.
That's one that the firemen saw, and then said they saw.
He said that, and everything else that was found had disintegrated or been broke up. And that's how he knew that they, just like I did, that they were escape craft, that they weren't ships. They wouldn't have been broken up into millions of little pieces like that. I mean, both of these were found over large areas. I mean, it wasn't like like it just hit the ground and it stuck there. It was like it just broke up and rolled along as it broke up. It would just be just like if you watch an F-16 hit the ground on a roll, that's what you would see.
Yeah. Well, whatever was found on Mac Brazel's ranch, that was a skitter. That was a ricochet site from whatever hit it, broke up as it hit and bounced off somewhere else. That was found, I think, 70 miles further from Mac Brazel's location, and that was where they found the Delta winged vessel, like nosedived into an arroyo, which is a type of geological formation.
What are you talking about, Christopher? Hangar 18?
Hangar 18 is not in Roswell. The hangar that it was housed in Roswell was Hangar 84A.
Yeah.
In when they moved any of those pieces to Dayton, Ohio, those were housed in Hangar 18E, I think.
Yeah, that was a whole different crash. That was nobody. We're not even sure if it was alien or not. It was just like the one that flew over the people on the highway that melted the highway and gave one of the women cancer. We're not even sure if that was alien. We think that might have been one of ours. You have to remember some guys and girls. The United States has been flying nuclear aircraft for a long time. Stanton Friedman and I actually talked about this a couple of times. So the main reason we don't use them today is because we don't like the idea of turning every airport in the United States into a potential dirty bomb. That's why we don't have them today. If we lived in a trusting society, we'd all fly around on nuclear aircraft, get places much faster with way cheaper cost, all the way around the board.
One nuclear-powered jet could probably fly how many hours before refueling?
Well,
years worth.
Fly around, yeah, you could fly a long time.
Probably a couple of years worth.
They said that they would probably design
stuff that they had to put it down for, occasionally. They would never have to refuel it for years.
Yeah, so they were talking about they were going to be designed so that they would burn out after every 8 or 10 months or every year, and then have to be that way. They come in when they got their new fueling rod, everything came in for an inspection, and the whole craft got worked over real well. People, they wanted to use them for a long time. Most Americans don't even know we had them. They sure don't know that we've been flying them for a while.
Think about cruise ships.
Wait, say that again. You broke up.
Nuclear-powered cruise ships.
Oh God, no!
They were talking about that too.
Green people would lose their mind.
Well, they're the same people you mean who travel around in like gigantic diesel freighter boats and burn more fuel than anyone else.
Yeah, it's a hypocrite thing.
That out loud, did I?
Yeah, it's a hypocrite thing, but that's Well, no, nuclear aircraft were a serious thing, and they really wanted. There's so many things we were going to use it for. So you hear us talking about that, but when we're talking about cold fusion fission coming in, that's what we're talking about. A little ball about this big runs your house. It can even be interchangeable with your car, your boat.
About the same size as the reactor of the ship behind us that Bob Lazar talked about. It takes a piece of like he described it as like a coin, a triangular shaped coin that he put in this reactor, and that piece of coin was a fissionable material called ununpentium, element 115, and they said, "Oh, it's not a real element." Look on the element table now. It used to be a proposed man-made element. Now it's on there, but I think they call it Moscovium now.
Yeah, they got a lot of things. Well, that thing's going to keep. The more we get into deep space and the more we become a mature race, the more things are going to get on the periodic table. There's no doubt about that. It's just a matter of time.
Dude, if that reactor that was in Bob Lazar's spaceship, if it does the same thing, if it's a cold fission reactor that'll power a device to go faster than light, how long would it power?
So right now they're building 2 18-wheelers. It's a new reactor, so it should be able to power once it's in full operation. Should be able to power New York pretty much indefinitely. New York City, and no rollouts. They want to build 3 or 4 of them. That way, New York's got a bunch of excess power, and then we can start putting them all around our country. Before long, we'll be selling power to people because we'll have more than we'll know what to do with. And they're talking about power on your cars, your homes, and everything with them. So instead of having transmission lines coming to your house, you won't anymore. You'll have a little softball size thing, basketball size thing. You drop in your thing, and it'll run your house indefinitely. They'll probably be good 50, 100, 200 years. They'll just, and then it'll come with the house.
Yeah,
Come with the
and then
car.
you have a little golf ball size thing that you take out to your bike, your motorcycle, your car,
Yep.
your boat, your plane.
Oh, that's within 100 years. That's
smaller version, but it powers your RV stuff.
the complete rollout's 100 years, 50 years before you start seeing regular things driving around on a regular basis with it. It's just like when we see self-driving vehicles, everybody, oh, it's never going to happen. Well, yeah, what's going to happen? And now it's happening. There's several cities right now testing taxi
Who predicted it? Sylvester Stallone.
That's just the oh man.
Hey, Taco Bell won the restaurant war. I mean, just think about that.
No. Oh God, Taco Hell, man. Look, okay, I can eat a Taco Hell every once in a while, but you can only.
I don't know, man. You're closer to Del Taco. Have you been to Del Taco?
You get Del Taco down here, but they have Tico Taco, which it's called Tico Taco. They have the best enchiladas and tacos. Even better than any authentic place I've ever eaten. They're just freaking.
Del Taco's pretty good.
Del Taco's pretty good. I ain't gonna lie, but they're better. They're actually better. I wouldn't steer you wrong, man. And the portions are a little bit bigger, a little bit cheaper.
You're coming to Gettysburg, you bring some of that with you.
But you know what? I did notice though, there's only a handful of them things around. I think there's only like 2 or 3 of them anywhere.
Yeah.
Anywhere in the areas where I live. But that's how.
Del Taco is ranging west though, and I got to admit, I mean, I like Taco Bell because they're fast, but Del Taco is
poison.
Same price, but they're bigger and better and hand grated cheese every day.
Well, Taco Bell is interesting. This is all up to the manager. What you get served at a Taco Bell is up to your manager.
Yeah,
if he's more worried about his bonus, then you're getting substandard everything. 50% soybean, beans are cut, everything's cut. Everything's bagged and dehydrated. You have to heat it. But if you're like, well, I was as a manager, we had 100% pure beef. Our onions were cut fresh every day. Our lettuce was cut fresh every day. None of that bad crap. So you can actually order that. It's just more work. So it cuts down on your bonuses. But, man, people just love it. It's so much of a better freaking taco. Real quick story, Gene. I'll tell you this. So I used to manage a McDonald's way back in the moonlight. Okay. If you knew what McDonald's paid managers, you'd already quit your job and be there. So, when I was an assistant, I used to get bored, and so I decided to start experimenting. So I would take like the burrito wraps and I'd put them in one of these round basket things, and squish them down the heat and fry my own little basket. I'd start filling up with ground meat, and lettuce and tomatoes and onions and sour cream. And so this lady, I'm not kidding you, I'm sitting up in the front eating. This lady says, "Can I have one of those? When did y'all start making?" I said, I just made it for myself. She said, "Oh no, this needs to be on the menu." Said they're never going to put this on the menu.
Although food's really a Friday Saturday theme. What about infrastructure for aliens? Do they have? Even though you're going from planet to planet, do they have stopovers, rest over places?
Well, I imagine all of them have quite a few.
Allegedly, Area 53 is where the tall whites hang out. That's like their rest area, their stop area for like refueling and whatnot.
Let's talk about the reppies for a minute. So I saw a pair of lips. That was weird. Kind of scared me a little bit.
It's Leah.
What's up, Leah?
Leah.
It's you gotta watch me. I've been in the mood for like 2 weeks now, so I'm dangerous. Plus, I'll be out in LA in a little while, so
yeah.
People, I'm not responsible for anything that goes on in LA. I'm just telling you ahead of time. Anybody who shows up. I'm not responsible for any. I'm evil when I'm in LA.
What happens in LA stays in LA, right?
That's Las Vegas.
It's every major city. That doesn't matter. It's whatever city you live in.
I think actually the rule is any major city that you go to that you don't live in.
It's definitely New Orleans. New Orleans is one of the few cities where people think they can just come get naked at. I'm like, I was down there. It was two Julys ago. I'm down there. I actually went down for the Chef Fest. Fabulous festival, man. All the big chefs come out and they put some of their best dishes out, and you get it's like $2 a cup. You just eat till you drop, and all just fabulous gourmet food. So and people just come out and have to act an ass no matter.
Last thing I want is to be around a bunch of naked people.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Well, these people.
Yeah,
So
but the ones that are tastefully painted, if she's hot,
we have 2 parades down here where they're allowed to do that. There's the gay pride. So everybody can get naked, but they got to be fully painted, male or female. And I forgot the name of the other one. Then they let them go out there. Only in the French Quarter, though, they can only march through the Rue Carré. And, of course, that's what we would call the adult section of New Orleans. Yeah, the city has its own adult section. That's how a city should be. It should have its own adult section.
Yeah.
Way less trouble. But we got a lot. I was like, Katrina, we got a lot of weird UFO reports out of there. The reptilian thing, which was crazy. Cops and people seeing reptiles walking around on Esplanade Avenue. That was just insane. Well, I imagine if you're hopping, depends what kind of engines we're talking about, what kind of travel we're talking about. Is it we're talking wormhole technology.
It depends on the individual creature's normal day. I mean, our day is 24 hours. How long is the reptilian's day? Is it
could be 36 hours, could be 48 hours, could be 8 hours. It could,
They could operate, like 6, 7, 8 months at a time before they need to hibernate for 4 or 5 months at a time.
Yes, depending on where they grew up or where they were designed to live.
Or their ecology as it is, we don't know what planets they're from. Or do we? I mean, do we know their origins? I mean, they can say wherever they want. But how do you prove? How can we prove? Oh yeah, we know you're from there. Yeah, we believe you. How do you guard an alien? I mean, that's a good question. How do you know? How can you determine where they could tell us anything? They could say they're from here for Christ's sake, and we'd have to believe them.
Yeah, we might, but we know they came after 63 million years ago.
Yeah.
Well, the reptilians are interesting because there's a couple. We have a lot of information on reptilians. More so, the Greys actually, to be totally honest with you, with the exception of contactees, we have less information on the Greys than any of the other 2 species because the human aliens and the Grey aliens have been around for 6,000 years in our history and in our lore. So we've got a lot to see. I mean, well, Jay and I were talking about just a couple of weeks ago about the Sumerians, the Egyptians with the long heads, and we were talking about reptilians all over Mesoamerica and North America and other places in the Middle East. It's somebody asked me a couple of weeks ago who I thought was the most dominant of the 2. I don't know.
There are 2 themes, and the 2 themes are it's either you have these gigantic humans that are extremely strong, Nephilim, if you will, Anunnaki, if you really want to go that way. They could be the sons of the Anunnaki. We don't know the full story because probably the Vatican has absconded with almost all of the original texts that would tell us any of these stories. But I mean, we're talking at least 3 different species. At least 3 different alien species have been visiting this planet and doing weird stuff. And it's in biblical. It's not just biblical. It's in legend and lore of hand-me-down stories from tribe to tribe.
Well, no, guys, it's all over the place. I mean, when you listen to a lot of these stories and they're talking about these reptilians, I mean, there's a lot of information about libraries and big dome things underwater where it's not even a city. It's like it's like an area. I don't know, 2 mile by 2 mile by a mile high, and it has these stands in it with these orbs on top of them, different sizes, different places, scattered all over the place. I think it's a library. And maybe it's a museum. I'm not sure which one it is. But most contactees talk about it, it seems to import information. So it can actually take stuff from your head and put it in there, and it can actually take stuff and put it in your head. Well, I don't know what a human brain can take versus a reptilian brain. I mean, theirs look about like twice the size of ours. So I'm not sure what would be considered dangerous and what wouldn't be considered dangerous. Jimmy, if the governments knew even a third of what they thought, they would not have to bother the rest of the world. They would muff this out and do away with ufology, and that would be the end of it. But they don't, so they need us to help
So
lose.
I hear that there's two factions or two opposing families, so to speak, that have been at war with each other for millennia, from like before time on this planet even existed. Like they come from a different, I don't know how to explain it. I guess I'm not that versed, but
Well, no, I know what
into
you're saying, but we know what we
but
don't.
then there's a lot of movies that have depicted that story, or stories that have reiterated it and changed the names or changed the setting or the time frame, but it's still the same base,
But it's
kind of
living
like
in
Romeo
the
and
past.
Juliet in a way.
It would be like us writing about stuff that happened in the European ages in the 15, 16, 1700s. It's past. It's not a current event. There's too
But
many
it's everything
contactees.
that, like,
So 90% of all your contactees talk about the council. The council doesn't allow for war to go on in this galaxy. It's a no-no.
but
And neither does the light beams.
but there is war. There's so much of it.
Only here.
The interplanetary war is not allowed.
We're just allowed to kill each other.
Correct.
They got to stay out of our business. It's not their right to interfere in it. Whether we survive or not is up to us, not them.
One of their rules, if you will, is that it's a prime directive, as it is like in Star Trek. They will not interfere with another planet's development unless was it 2/3 of the
But it's even simpler than that. They're giving you the same thing that God would do. Say, okay, look, it's up to your decision, not ours.
Mm-hmm.
We had to go through these same choices, the same choices that you got to go through. Either you're going to make it or you're not. We can't stop you. If you blow yourself up, we get a free planet.
This is interesting. I agree. They've got to have
They
libraries.
did. I agree. I agree.
They probably have, if they've been on this planet, and they say they've been on this planet for millions of years, not just hundreds of thousands. They probably have video records of the development of this planet. I'd like to see those records. That would be cool if they would allow it.
But at one time there was a war in this galaxy. We know that too. That's talked about by the contactees. They talk about the destruction of different worlds. They talk about when the light beams found this galaxy, it was completely in turmoil. It's the reason the Greys came to be. They found the Greys on the edge of the spiral, on the edge of the galaxy, and converted them into what we would call today's policeman. They make sure there's no violence going on. It's the reason they were sent here, to make sure the reptilians and humans didn't get into a fight. Because once the reptilians interfered and started sleeping with the human women, and the children were being born, were becoming aggressive and hated, they said they made better sense of it here before war starts. Between the reptilians and the Greys.
Yeah.
Reptilians and humans, I'm sorry, not the Greys. Yeah. There was a lot of races to keep up with. The Greys just here to keep the peace and run the abductions. They took most of the abduction stuff away from the humans and reptilians, and I guess what the Greys are really doing is seeing how much damage the other two races caused, and what can they expect from us in 100 million years? Who will
I've
we
been
be?
speculating for a long time that they must be here for a reason, and adding the faction of the light beings controlling everything from the dark corners. It stands to reason they must be trying to repair something that they've accidentally broke. Just look at our solar system. I keep saying it. It's broken. We have a completely destroyed planet. Some people say it was destroyed by the gravitational forces coming from, Saturn and Jupiter. And I'm like, how? How do we know that? We weren't around. There's damage on Mars. There's damage. Our planet isn't like this. It's knocked over. So, a cue ball came through the center of our galaxy and, knocked a bunch of shit loose.
So what about
what if they caused that?
Maybe it was like Pangea, where instead of continents, all the planets were closer
Pangea is
together.
millions of years ago. That's
They
after.
bumped into each other.
Pangea is after the planet gets knocked sideways.
But she's talking about the planets themselves being Pangea, not the continent. The planets being
I
closer.
know.
Much closer.
Like not all one big planet, but just say like instead of being so spaced out and
Well, at one point,
maybe the
the
sun
beginning of this
itself
solar system, it was a big giant thing of just debris and rock and rubble, and then it
At one
eventually
time,
started to form rings, and then the rings formed planets and moons and dust and whatnot, and eventually became what it is.
At one time, we were just one big dust cloud, is what we were.
Yeah. At one time, that's how many billions of years ago? 4.5 billion years ago.
Yeah, even longer than that, we were a dust cloud, probably about 5. Then we started to coalesce slowly but surely over 500 million years. The little rock particles started sticking to other ones, and then they got bigger and bigger and started sticking until something got enough mass for something to start
drifting towards
sticking
the
around.
center of the where the sun would be eventually.
Yeah.
That's where the heaviest elements went. That's where all the uranium and polonium and whatever causes,
It's a very interesting thing to understand how a solar system forms. It's actually quite cool. It's
if we could witness that, how awesome would that be? It would takes millions of years, though. I mean,
well, over millions of years. One day we will watch them over millions of years, and then we'll just our school kids in 2 million years will be able to watch one and fast forward.
Yeah,
it's Let's see, Jimmy. You want to really know what the Greys are really truly here for? They're really truly here to know who are we. This is a created.
What if we were nobody?
No, we are somebody because we're a created species. That's what they're worried about.
There are 4 alien species interacting with this planet, Leah. So
but that's not. But what they're really worried about is
it's not us; it's something else.
We have human DNA, we have reptilian DNA, and we have gray DNA, which means we have the potential to surpass all 3 of those species easily.
I think one of the biggest follies of human nature is believing that we're special.
Everything's special, and everything's not. It's the nature of the universe. Everything's special because it's all unique, but still it's fleeting. So it's both. It's how the universe works.
I don't know. There's too much death and disease and child.
Think about what you just said. For everything that dies on this planet, 100 million trillion other things are being born. Think about what you just said. The universe creates as much life, far more than it destroys at this time. Anyway, give it a chance. When it snaps back, that's going to be hell.
Event.
Who? Not us. We're getting ready to go to Mars. You're not extinct in us.
I don't know, man. I don't have very much faith in Elon Musk.
So some already have bases and infrastructure there already.
So you judge. The same rule applies for where you're rich, poor, indifferent. You judge everybody by their actions. So far, everything Elon Musk said he was going to do, he has done, and he's done it easily. So that speaks volumes, because he hasn't had any
good to say about the man.
I know, and he has no failures.
There's somebody like some billionaire out there, like ultra uber billionaire, literally the richest person in the world, trying to defund social programs and like
social programs. You're listening to some liberal bullshit. He's not trying to get rid of Social Security. Yeah, the people who've been on it for 300 years, he's trying to get rid of them. See, we can't talk about this in this show anyway. But in the future, you need to see what they were actually doing there. They're not messing with anybody who's on it or anybody who's getting on it. It has nothing to do with that. It has a lot to do with, we can't talk about it. It's got a lot to do with fraud, though. What is it, Joe? No, not on this show. We're not allowed to talk politics on the show. It's a no. Yeah. Well, because we got ufologists and abduction people listening. They get upset when you talk about politics. Yes, they do. And I don't blame them. Politics, you know what? It bites the righty, man. I'm talking about the righty chocolate cookie before anybody says anything stupid. What do you mean if I was an alien, would I want to live here? I like living here now. I never will get
let's
people.
Go back to this.
It's great. It's fabulous. I mean, look at where else do you want to live in our solar system? Mars, Jupiter, Venus. Give me a break. Come on, what are you talking about? Oh, maybe in 100 million years, Mars will be kicking.
Maybe same for Venus.
So the idea.
Okay, man.
I was gonna say the idea of Anunnaki or the what was the other one? The Sumerians, like going all the way back.
Well, the Sumerians are us, or the human beings, but the Anunnaki are their alien gods who created
like
them.
Aliens.
Okay, so who is it that people
I don't
are
know. I'll
talking
try.
about when they're referring to fallen angels?
Those will probably be in the terms of the Anunnaki, the Ijiji.
Well, fallen angels are just probably the human aliens. That's probably what they are. I mean, that's when you listen to Hitler in his book Mein Kampf, what he's describing is angels, but what he's actually describing is those aliens we're talking about, those big-headed aliens. I mean, it's the same description because he even starts talking about the 6 fingers and 6 toes and how much bigger they are than an average human. Now, yeah, you could say that was an archangel, but the aliens, the human contact he's described, that is an extraterrestrial.
Yeah, I would.
So that's the real problem. I mean, that's what they are.
Well, some of
And,
the
and
extraterrestrials
What
have
are
2
they?
rows of teeth.
they were the ones who came down and originally started screwing around with the daughter of men. But the problem with the daughter of men theory is it's not an accurate theory because they had a hand in creating the daughter of men. There may have already been a subspecies here. I'm not going to argue if there were and there wasn't because I don't know. But they
So
chose
you're
something
talking
and
about their
breed it.
offspring. Their offspring would be the Nephilim, if that's what you're referring
No, and
to.
their
Sons of
offspring,
God
their
and the
offspring
daughters
was
of men.
yeah, but their offspring would have been even different because once they had children, and those children had become the slave race of our planet because of what they were interbred with. Those children actually became the slave race, but then, unfortunately for them, the reptilians showed up and decided they wanted to interbreed with them. So now we're got 2.5 species of alien in us, and we're babies, maybe 10,000 years old at this point, maybe 100,000.
I
We're
think a
just
lot of that
infants.
is due to I don't know, all of the toxic crap that we've been forced to consume.
No, they need to slow us down. We're thinking about humans ourselves. Our technology doubles about every 2 years now, but our kindness, our likeness, our being doesn't. If you look at humans today, there are less violent, and even though there's way more of us now, there's 8 billion of us versus the 200 million just
Quite a lot.
2,000 years ago. There was way more wars back then there is today, and way more people dying
And
of
way more
war.
disease, too, on top of
Yeah,
that.
that's what I was going to say, of war. Now you spring forward today, there's way less people dying of war, but we're dying of every other damn thing you can think of.
Yeah.
As far as I
Measles
know,
is back.
cancer, they don't even think cancer is more than 5,000 years old.
Measles is back.
Yes, measles is bad. I mean, the human race itself has to be watched over. I mean,
Polio
we're
is back.
reckless. So if you're a species in space with a bunch of other species out there that have really got your shit together, and all of a sudden you look down at this planet and go, well, there's 3 different types. These guys are really smart. They learn really fast. Do we really want to let them into deep space where they can really learn stuff? No, we don't.
Or not learn stuff, really mess stuff up.
Well, I'm thinking to worry more in the beginning that we learn stuff, then mess stuff up. We're just, until we prove who we
or
are as a
learn
species.
how to mess stuff up and then go ahead and mess it up.
Right now, we are. Think of it this way: 3 men control 8 billion people. 3 men, that's it.
Yeah.
Control 8 billion of us in all sorts of ways. So you're an alien race looking at us going, these guys are so messed up. But yet they can't come in and change it. I mean, if an alien fleet showed up over and planned and said, we want you to have one world government today, we'd be like, oh, yes, ma'am, we sure will. But until such a time, which Reagan's talked about, we're a lost species. We fight over the dumbest things, over energy and power and food and stuff that is easily be moved around the planet. There doesn't have to be any homeless or starving people on this planet.
I'm not fighting with anyone about anything. I just want a simple life. I'm, like these people that are out there fighting these wars and dropping bombs and destroying infrastructures. I don't have anything to do with any of that. Like when you say we, I am not included in that.
We are the same species. The same species.
No, I am not an oligarchic,
blood.
oppressive, slave trading warmonger.
That little piece of stardust that was this big that created all 8 billion of us and all the rest of the stuff around us. We're all the same kin. And until we start thinking like that, this will never stop.
No, I don't agree. I personally just don't agree. I think that there are beings on this planet, if they're human or not, that I do not relate to. I do not empathize with. I don't have any interest in getting being a part of whatever it is that they represent, because they're murderous, carnivorous, cannibalistic, just
You
evil
should talk
people.
about the aliens like that. They might come get you, girl. They might come get you and feed you to the
Joe,
grave.
The
Good
people that are
crap.
out there pulling the strings to benefit the super wealthy, and the people that are out there that are pulling strings to drop bombs on children. I don't have anything to do with any of that. I try and stay.
Well, you ain't stopping it.
What power do I have?
Yeah,
I
everybody
work
has
at
power.
McDonald's.
Everybody has power.
No, I don't.
Oh yes, everybody has power.
No, I have the power to
Choose
wake up
to
in the
use the
morning and wash my face and brush my teeth and
No,
take
but
care of
that's because
myself.
that's the only power you give yourself. But you have power to change things.
No.
You see, you're like 99% of 99.9999% of the planet people on the planet. You don't believe you can change anything, you never will change anything, which means everything will ever change.
I don't believe there's anything
So
special about
one
me.
person,
I'm just
and
a normal person.
what did I just tell you? Did I just not tell you 3 people control 8 billion? 3. That's it. 3. Now, none of these people in the beginning, they were all lonely, nobody, pieces of crap from the start. All of them. But they're
No,
not.
they weren't.
Oh, yes,
They
they
were.
were.
They were born on private lands that were handed down by them through their inheritances and stuff.
I can tell you watch way too much liberal television. We're gonna have to wean you off of that
If you
stuff.
go back to some of the interviews with Donald Trump when he first made it on the scene in like 1970s, he was interviewed
He
by.
was just given a small loan of $1 million.
Well, regardless of how he made his money, when he's first interviewed about being president, he said, "No, I'm not interested in being that." That's what he said in his first.
And he also
Today
said
Show
that he
interview.
wanted to run as a Republican because he thought Republicans were dumb.
He did. And he changed both those. So it shows you people can change. We also know he changed ever since he got his ears shot. But anyway, enough of that. No, Donald Trump is not an alien. The aliens would just laugh their asses off. Though, he doesn't sleep. So I'm beginning to wonder. As far as I know, the man doesn't sleep. He's always...
Because he's addicted to uppers. That's why he wears a diaper.
He's not allowed to do... He don't do any drugs. His doctor's already... No, he's never done them. That's been one of his things. He never drank or did drugs his whole entire life.
There's people that get.
But not only does he show you can make it in life, he says you can make it sober in life.
There's people that justify their addictions by saying, "Well, it was prescribed to me," and so to them, it's not drugs.
But he's not. He hasn't even been on prescription drugs. It's not who he is. I know it's hard for you to believe, but there are people who don't do drugs or drink. Quite a few of them these days.
I'm one of them.
They used to be.
So I can believe it because I'm one of them.
Joe,
but he's never done them.
I got 2 things for you just now. Well, this one's been waiting, but Army Vet wants to know if you're going to the MUFON Symposium in Cincinnati in July.
I don't know, but I'll check into it and see what's going on up there. I'm going to be in July. I might be around there in July. I think it would be. I'll have to check and see because I know I'll be somewhere in the area. I thought I was going up to DC or something like that. What was the other one?
And then right under that, Eugenia said Trump legalized weed. Enough said. When? I didn't hear about that.
Well, we love you, Trump. Zeke Island Trump.
Federally?
Zeke Island Trump. Zeke Island Trump.
If he did, when was it? I didn't hear about that yet. I'm gonna have to look that up.
Does he mean federally?
I don't think you can do it federally without the Congress.
Yeah, I don't think the executive order will do it.
From the looks of it, he's trying to get rid of the Congress.
He can't get rid of Congress.
I know.
Only we, unfortunately for him, only we can get rid of Congress. It's only we can do. Now he can get rid of Democrats. I'm all for that. I mean, $2 trillion in waste, and it didn't even take 50 days to find it. Jesus, that says so much about the Democratic Party in our country.
Even if they found $100 bazillion trillion in fraud, it still wouldn't affect my life at all.
Yeah, well.
No,
real quick. This I'll tell you how this real quick how this works. So first trillion, you get $2,500. Second trillion, you get Second trillion, you get $5,000. Third trillion, you get $7,500.
Just not buying it.
You get $10,000. No, that's what they're doing. That was the whole plan, was to pay down the debt and give people back his money. Everything this man has said he was going to do, he has done. Everything so far. He's the only president I've ever seen in the history of the United States that in 50 days has done almost everything he said he was going to do. and he said he's going
He
to
did.
give people money. And he
He
said
did-
it
he did
during
deny
COVID,
it.
and guess what? We got money.
He
It's,
said he was going to end Ukraine before he got inaugurated, and that didn't happen.
So you got your $5,000 already?
I got 10.
Oh, lucky you. You must be a lucky one.
Well, and, I know the guy personally, so he don't want me talking about it.
Right.
So he sends me 10 grand every 2 months to keep me shut up.
Colorado went legal in 2016 for recreational marijuana, and then I
Yeah.
think California the year after that.
Well, that wasn't Trump.
No,
But that's what he was president, is what they're talking
But-
about.
he already said he realized. I threw it up there. He already realized.
So
It's,
when is he going to come out of the woodworks with the JFK files and how
He
they
already
are
has.
actually the disclosure of extraterrestrials and
he's released everything that they had. He's released. He's releasing the other 84,000 documents as
the
we speak.
non-redacted versions.
No,
Yep.
he said no redactions. He said they cannot be redacted. He said it on national television on NBC just the other night. He said, so he already said it. He said, boo. Because I don't think we're going to find in there what we thought we were going to find, which kind of sucks.
Yeah, and guess what I heard? Oh, no, it's for Friday. Never mind. We'll do it on Friday. We got to talk
But
about
I
it.
mean, it definitely relates if you want to talk about the.
No, it
the
doesn't. It doesn't.
Because that's why JFK was assassinated.
No, it wasn't.
I wish that's why he was assassinated.
Well, he was not killed because of anything UFO, alien related whatsoever.
I tell you what, there's a book out there called Crossfire, written by Jim Mars.
Yes.
One of the best things about Kennedy you'll ever read. One of the closest to anything that might have even got close to what was going on. Jimmy, on Friday night, we'll talk about the magic bullet. Yes. Just remind me on Friday night, we'll talk about it.
Yes, we can talk about that. I'm an expert on that in that subject as well.
The magic bullet is great. It's a great. Well, there's a lot of stuff about that, in there.
I haven't finished it, but this also seems to be one of the suspects.
There's a lot of good stuff out there to read. What do you mean? Oh, you mean am I giving books away later this year? Yeah. When I get done, where's it at? Matter of fact, this is it right here. This is what I'm going to LA for right now. Look how pretty that is. The guy who did the illustration on this is a guy who does everything for Disney. And this tells you what kind of judges they have.
Hey, let me put it behind us.
So it's check it out. You can pre-order it right now. You can't buy it right now. This one is I'll never be able to give this one away. This is an advanced reader's copy, so I might give it away later this year because it's gotten kind of beat up. So y'all know it won't be perfect. It's already been to Phoenix with me. It's been to South Carolina with me too, and it's fixing the hell out to LA with me pretty soon.
There it is.
Yeah, there it is right there. So get out there and buy it, or book. It's going to be an audio book too. But more so than that, real quick commercial, since we didn't take a commercial break. People, go to writersoffuture.com and enlist, join. Man, I know we got lots of friends that have good. Whoa, what the hell is that?
How do you get it back? I don't know what I did. You know how to fix it? There we go.
Yeah, I got it. It's just that weird one, and it's with the two people in it.
Oh, okay.
It's
maybe I should look it was highlighted before I went and goofed
I'll
off.
be there from the 3rd to the 13th. Yeah, no, come on down. I'll be around. Actually, daytime's better to catch me than nighttime because I do a lot of interviews in the evening times. And they have barbecues and dinners and meetings with all these famous judges that I like to talk with. And, I got to meet the owner of Dragon Con, the guy who owns the Annex in Utah and owns the one in Tampa. Lot of interesting stuff, yeah. And that's what I was saying. We need more people in LA, man. I could use a lot of help when I'm down here doing all these interviews. Yes. That's the only way you're going to get in a hotel to get to meet anybody. I can tell you that.
No.
Where are we this year? Roosevelt? I think it's the Roosevelt. Maybe it's the Lowe's. I don't have to check and see.
I used to be so concerned with why am I having these dreams? Why am I having these memories? Why did I see what I saw? I'm getting to the point where I don't even care anymore.
Because you don't listen, Padawan. Oh my God! You made me want to smack you while we're on air. You're lucky we're on air.
Well, Army Vet has a question for all of us. What are all of our top 3 favorite alien abduction books? I'm not sure.
I don't read.
My library is gone. First of all, so I don't have anything to look back on. And I know I had some, but as far as abduction stories goes, Fire in the Sky, Travis Walton's story is pretty intriguing.
Yeah, I don't read other people's stories. I don't want to fuel my imagination with other people's stories because I have enough of my own.
Well,
it's
the movie
good for
wasn't quite really what the same as the book, and it wasn't even quite the same as. I mean, even Travis Walton said the book wasn't quite the experience he really had, but the movie was way over top.
So if y'all ever want to know about Travis Walton on SoundCloud, probably the easiest place to find it. There's a 5 hosts. We all did Travis while within, I think, 2 weeks of each other. No one's asking the same questions because we actually knew he was coming, so we all got together as hosts and made sure we didn't ask him the same questions. Plus, I knew some stuff about him that the other hosts didn't know, which made my interview a little more entertaining. I knew there was a CIA agent on the mountain that night with him, stuff like that. I also asked him questions like, why do you think what was one that threw him off? And I said, well, you didn't think they knew you were there, Travis? Come on. Are you telling me that the aliens, you don't think they have sensors? I said, hell with the sensors. That noisy, squeaky truck of yours bouncing up and down the side of a mountain with the lights on high beam and squeaking thing 50 years old. Jesus, they probably knew you were coming all the way from town. He just looked at me like, he didn't like it because it scared him. It made him realize that he wasn't a one-time contactee, that there was other things going on in his life besides just a one-time. Because, Bruce, there are no such thing as one-time contactees. Sorry.
Well, maybe. I don't think I'm like. I don't think I'm like a multiple time. I think if I only have one specific memory of something, and everything else was a dream. I woke up from it like it was a dream. So there's only one time that I know in my real waking life that I could say this actually happened. Other than that, it's memories of dreams I've had.
That's where abductions manifest, is in dreams. That's where they first come out, is in your dreams.
Yeah, but and science has shown that dreams are only manifestations of what happened to us that day.
You know, it's interesting. You know, dreams are fun. Learning how to dream weave, though, can really change your perception of what dreams are and how they work. It really can, especially if you're empathic or telepathic. Oh my God, it can change all sorts of things in your brain. Mm-hmm. Well, because, you know, like, especially if you know someone close, or you're close to somebody, or you're sharing a bed with somebody, they're a good person to practice on. Because as you're developing these abilities, sooner or later your spouse will start to share your dreams. Or, better yet, you'll start to share theirs. Like, wake up in the morning, hey baby, I was dreaming about this weird purple dragon thingy. And your old man looks over at you like, wait, what? No, I was dreaming about that. You know, shit like that really starts freaking out people after a while. But the lesson to it is once you learn how to do that, you can do that with anybody from any distance. As far as I know, there is no distance restriction.
Well, the other party has to be willing and
no, they have to be asleep and
have to be willing. Sleep is all they have to be, or on their way to sleep. Yeah, they don't have to be willing, unless there's like a really advanced psyche. You have to be asleep. You have to be asleep. You got to be right as you're breaking into REM sleep, or right after you break into it.
Oh, well, that never happens to me anymore.
Yeah, everybody, you sleep, REM, probably about 3 hours a night.
I don't sleep for longer than 2 hours at a stretch.
But you're still getting it in there.
I'm actually going in for a sleep study soon because I'm likely going to have to be put on a CPAP machine.
Because you can't behave yourself.
Because
life is hard.
Eugenia wants to ask about the dream stuff. If you start to remember specific details about the dreams, and then if you keep going, do you get any deeper? And does it make you sick and nauseous so you puke?
I literally can't sleep for longer than 2 hours at a stretch, so I don't experience REM sleep all that much.
Well, you're gonna even if you're sleeping for 2 hours, you're probably getting an hour. And only usually, especially people who are having issues with sleep, they'll usually go into REM faster because your brain knows you have to have X amount so you don't go crazy. A loss of REM sleep just over a week is enough to put you in a hospital. Over a month will send you sailing off into a crazy land. You'd be locked up somewhere shooting up with drugs so you would sleep. It's now, Johnny, REM sleeps are very important to the human mind. It's
Or
what
just
helps.
overeating and trying to put yourself into a food coma.
Yeah, just sleep. And for some people who are up and down, up and down, up and down, REM sleep is almost instantaneous for some, not for all.
Yeah.
A lot of people will, they always say it takes this long or that long. Well, I found that that's not true. I've actually woke up from a dream, walked to the kitchen, got something to drink, walked back, got back in bed, and continued to dream, which I was told by 2 different sleeps that you can't do that. Well, guess what? You can.
Yeah.
My brain just picked up right from where it was and went right back into a deep sleep. I don't
Talking
like it.
about continuing dreams, like recurring dreams. Have you ever talked to anybody that had a recurring dream that happened over a long time span? I'm talking like years of their life. They would have like a series of dreams that was ongoing, like different episodes.
Almost every contactee I know. I'm pretty sure it is every contactee I know.
For years.
For years.
And years.
Yeah.
It was just like a carry on. They'd pick up where they left off in their last dream.
Because the way abductions work is that's what's happening. You're picking up from where you left off last time, every time. So however your brain wants to reconcile them, well, that's because your brain's reconciling them. That's because you're just blocking them out now. But because the problem, you have the same problem a lot of us have, is if you dream too much, your brain becomes overactive. It's like being awake, even though you're asleep. So you don't end up getting any rest. It does. You might get REM, but you're not really getting any rest because your brain's as active as it is as if it was in a.
It's true. It's like you go to sleep, but you're awake because you're fully like active and it's lucid. You can make decisions. You can. It's like you're just as aware of your surroundings as you are, and then you wake up. It's like you didn't even sleep. It's like you woke up and then you woke up again.
Look at the clocks, an hour, 2, 3 hours have passed. You're like, no freaking way. That's impossible.
It seems like only minutes in your brain. It's only minutes.
I think Edgar Allan Poe wrote a poem or something about a dream within a dream.
Dream a little dream with me. No, that's.
I don't remember how the poem goes, but I do remember the part where it said something, a dream within a dream.
We know there's Freddy Krueger's dreams.
Yeah.
Hello, how y'all? It's what's that, Jackie? It's for abductees, not for contactees, but for abductees. That's where abduction manifests in their dreams, and sometimes this is just simply
that's where the subconscious mind of the abductee tries to deal with whatever trauma happened.
I'm gonna say something.
Heard the alien.
Yeah, Chihuahua.
Chihuahua aliens. Good.
Even though I've got history with my own situation, and I've been the term abductee has been used to describe my my situation. I don't feel like it really sets me apart from the rest of humanity. It doesn't make me feel different or special. I don't feel like I'm. It doesn't. I don't think I'm. I don't know, better or worse off than anyone. It was just literally, I could describe it the same way that I would describe I went to school at that specific school when I was in the 8th grade. It was something that happened to me in the past, and it doesn't seem to really have a lasting impact on my life moving forward. It's just something that I went through, like breaking a leg or, I don't know, moving to a new state.
That sounds even better. It's hey. I always get a couple of pictures every night of the chat for different people out there in the crazy world. A contactee, you're kind of in between. Actually, you're kind of floating in between an abductee and a contactee. you're aware that something happened, so it takes you a little bit out of the abduction part, but it doesn't give you enough consciousness to understand what actually happened to you.
And I don't think I ever will. Like, I don't think
No,
I'm
because you
meant to
don't want
understand
to.
it.
No, you don't want to.
I don't think I'm built to understand it. I
No,
don't
you're
think I
pretty
have
well
a
built
reason
for it.
to understand it.
You've just never been in a place or a position where you can have the time and the seriousness to understand it without being ridiculed, without being hated on about it. At least having people to talk to that understands what
Well,
you've
that's
been
a big
going.
one. I don't really have anyone to talk to about it.
Yeah, it's 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 part of what it takes. It's hey Dolly, how you doing, sweetie? It's it's learn. It's one of the hardest things about being an abductee or coming out of abduction into contact is all the crap that goes along with it, and trying to understand how do you incorporate this into your life. How do you become a contactee in the world and still have a life, everyday life, have a spouse, have kids, have a job, have just life. How do you do that? Not a fucking easy thing to do. It's
You just look at it as though it was a part of life that you've experienced and move on.
oh no, you have to
Keep
come to
waking up,
terms
brushing
with
your
it.
teeth, and going to work.
No, you have to come to terms with it. You have to know that something is going on. You have to try to understand why it's going on. Why are they letting you remember anything is a big question. Let me tell you what, this is a significant thing for any abductee. The simple fact that they let you remember anything says they saw something in you that they thought might be worth putting out, bringing along gradually to turn into something they want to use. It's the best way I can put it. Because they don't have to. They don't
No,
have to let anybody see their ships, and they don't have to let anybody remember anything. They can block out everything. There's no error. If they don't want you to know, they can make it to where you just don't know. Think of it: 98%, 97% of all abductees will never, ever, ever, ever know they were taken. Ever. All they'll know is that they'll have weird dreams and weird things and weird interests and weird stuff, but they'll never understand why. They'll get involved in different religions or different spiritual things or paranormal ufology just because they know something, but they don't know what or why or how. They just have a feeling.
Yeah.
And if when they're on board the ship, they're acting like an ass, they're never going to be allowed to know anything or do anything. And then some of them simply outlive their usefulness because not every abductee or contactee is lifelong. Sometimes around 40 or 50,
well,
they'll
that must
stop
be me
taking it.
then. I'll be 40
So,
this year.
no, unfortunately, they'll be taking you, and I know why. I don't want to freak you out, so I ain't going to tell you.
Oh, you have to now. You can't leave me on that kind of cliffhanger.
Oh, and you have a child, don't you? Yes, you do, and you know what that means.
Genetically, yes.
Okay, that means genetically. That means that he's being taken, the little demon that he is, the cute little demon that he is. Which means that in the very beginnings, they're probably taking you along with him because I don't know if his other important half is one of those.
They full on reject the idea that that's even a real thing. They
All
laugh
right.
at me when I try talking to them
So,
about it. They think I'm
so
crazy.
and you don't need to talk to people about that. You don't even worry about them. Let them think whatever the hell they want to think. It does not matter to you. It's not going to change your life. It's not going to help your life any.
I remember the first time I tried having that conversation, he told me that I
See,
was wrong and that it was the wild and imagination of an abused and neglected young child.
well, that's a good excuse as any. I mean, if that's it, and it is an acceptable excuse if that's something you just wanted an out on. You say, okay, that works for me. I'll just take that and move on with that. I mean, if you're looking for an out, that's an out. But that's not who you are, unfortunately for you. I've known you over 20 years now. You just are not meant to take the easy road. Not who you are. And which also means that you have something to offer in return. You just haven't got there enough to believe in yourself enough to do it yet.
It's kind of
I
hard when
believe
you're being treated like crap at an entry
but
level fast food position.
I understand that because I've been there myself. But I believe in you. I believe you have something to offer. Jay does. And we all know Jay's crazy. So, I mean, shit, that should tell you something right off the bat. That's Stephanie. What do you mean it's like a job? Well, being a contactee is different. Contactees actually know they've had contact, and there's different levels of contact. The very beginning, people like Dolly, it just depends where you are in the contact realm. No, some are going to have much more advanced experiences. No, everybody starts out the same way. It's just as you grow and show interest, they show interest back. So the more interest you show, the more interest they show back. And if you're gifted and you're one of the people that can stick in a ship or teach how to do navigation, or any of this stuff, they're really interested in teaching humans these things. So they allow humans to learn as much as that we can handle in our little brain that we have, unfortunately, you know. And when you're on board ships, there are, like I said, places that you can learn more and they can keep it in storage for when you're on board the craft. But there are levels. There's like the keepers who work with the aliens to make sure everybody being brought on board the ships are being taken care of and being interacted with properly. There's different contactees. There's ones that are out there that are speaking every day. Not all of them going to agree. Not all even going to be saying the same thing, but they're all going to be out there telling you, this has happened to me. This is by who, and this is by why. And you have to take it for what it is. Jeffrey, what do you mean? No, I don't. I don't never agree with all contactees because for any abductee, for any contactee, it's all the same for all of us. There's always going to be a piece of us that needs to make it a different aspect than what it actually is. It has nothing to do with ego. It has to do with the way we're raised, how we were raised. It's hard to explain, but some things it takes longer to understand because there's simply no reference on Earth. There's no coming back to talk to someone about something you saw because there's just no reference to talk to them about. They would just look at you simply like you were stupid, crazy, or brilliant, one of the three. That would depend on who you were talking to. Yeah. Contactees all should be taken seriously. Well, no, like I just said, you can't. Well, there's a lot of them out there. There's a lot of contactees out there. There's a lot of advanced contactees out there.
You know that I'm technically considered disabled, right?
Yes, we know because Molly dropped you in your head. I told her to hold on to you.
To be honest, it had to do with the fact that I told the wrong people that I believed that I was abducted when I was a child, that I saw an alien face to face. I came out with my story and told it to people who I thought I could trust, and then I was, diagnosed with a permanent disability.
Well, people are assholes, but it's and people do abuse these kind of stories. It's a hard thing because all this stuff goes in both directions. And there's so much to keep up with as an abductee. Once you start the coming out process, and that's the best way I can describe it. It's like being gay. Once you start the coming out process, there's no really turning back. It's hard to just jump back in the closet. Some people can do it, but most people just can't. It's just the more you pick up, the more you learn, the more you understand, the more you want to learn, the more you want to understand, which also gives you an edge when next time you get taken on a ship. You can say, okay, well, now I'm starting to understand that I'm here to help do this or that or this or that.
It's PTSD. It's the same as soldiers coming back from war. They can't readjust this in life.
So, I mean, if you're there to help with the people on board the ship, or you're there to help with the people in everyday civilian life, if you're out there supposed to be spreading the word or whatever it may be, they're going to want you doing that, and they will help you to move along that, and they will introduce you to other contactees that can help it happen, get it going.
I've been hearing that for years, though.
Yes, because you don't listen. Again, you hard-headed, like a damn. My chihuahuas. I'm telling you, girl, my no listening chihuahuas listen better than you.
I do listen.
Oh my God. I'm just making sure no lightning bolt hits me or nothing. That big ass lie. Jesus Christ. I'm sorry, Jesus. I didn't mean to do that. She see what she does to me, man. Oh my God. It's no, you are hard headed. You do. There's things I've told you several times in life. You to just listen. You'd have been way better off.
Jay's like a stepdad.
JD.
Jay and Joe. Jay and Joe, they're like stepdads.
See, this Dolly gonna get on you now. Jesse James. No, we're getting ready to get out of here because Michelle will be coming up in just a few minutes. Oh, I didn't even look to see who she had on tonight.
Yeah, no, me either.
Hold on, I got StreamYard right here in front of me, so let's see. What's that, Jesse James? Now, Friday night, we'll be talking about all of that on Friday. Anybody's welcome to come on the show on Friday night. Just know it's going to be uh, different kind of politics, multi-line politics, lots of politics, lots of all kinds of stuff. Actually,
I cannot stay awake for the life of me. I
you know,
can't do it. I don't know
didn't
why.
didn't you used to work at a coffee shop one time in your life?
Not anymore.
And then say you did, that don't mean you can't go get a cup of coffee. Is all I'm saying.
No,
Damn.
I'm not getting coffee anywhere around here unless it's somewhere that I know is good, and they're not open past 2 p.m.
Okay, you can make that shit at home. You know that.
2
right?
p.m.
I wish. I don't have an espresso machine.
Oh my god! Just drink coffee. You don't need.
If I had an espresso machine, I wouldn't need to go to a coffee shop. I'd open my own.
Oh Lord. What are we gonna do with this young? What's that, Billy?
Nobody around here knows how to make any type of espresso drink. There's a very small handful of
Well, what kind of barista don't know how to make an espresso drink?
children. I'm talking children. People that are hiring children to run their little drive-through coffee shops that don't take care of the espresso machines. They don't clean them. They don't know what they're doing. And
Children should
therefore
only
they're
run
pumping
lemonade
out
stands. That's
crap
it.
products.
Oh, sorry, I got lost there for a minute. Paranormal insight.
I'm not going to pay $7 for a drink that's a literal cup of diarrhea.
Ugh, yeah.
Hey, I don't know that either. That just sounded nasty. Okay, okie dokie. YouTube. What? Okay, I gotta see what's going on. Okay, we're good there. Who is Michelle on with tonight? Let's see. Paranormal Insight, Church of Mavis.
Yeah, I was gonna look and I forgot to look.
Let's see. Outer Realm. Let's see. Channel message. Wait, what? Ain't gonna let me see it. Anyway, it just says channel message on the screen, guys. Whatever that means. No, I'm not going into her room because she might shoot me, so we're not going in there. We're gonna stay over here where we belong. Anyway, y'all go check out Michelle DeRoche. She'll be coming up next. She always has a great show going on. I can't wait to see it tonight.
Yeah, it says they're going to talk about the weather, like WEATH, like weather. Huh.
Like the HARP and the HARP weather modification technology.
I don't know.
One of my really good friends,
Who didn't find out?
who worked at the Pentagon for a long time. He was at the HARP facility for quite some time. He was up there for almost a decade before they brought him to DC.
All the planes that are spewing out chemicals for cloud seeding.
You know, I've been closely taking pictures of what may have been spin contrails versus chemtrails. It's because we get a lot of planes come over around here, so we got a lot of military stuff around here. So I've been paying attention. But I did post them on my Facebook page, guys and girls, about 3 weeks ago. A friend of mine in the Air Force sent me some pictures of them opening tanks and openly spraying. He didn't tell me what they were. It did say caution on the tank, though.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like a lot of them. They're not just exhaust fumes coming off the back of the truck in cold atmosphere.
Because there's a difference. Usually, a contrail will only last a few minutes to maybe a half an hour, and it dissipates. And it's not one that goes across the whole sky. Usually, when you see them across the whole sky, there's something else. Somebody said, "Well, you could." I said, "Well, during the freeze, it was freezing cold outside. Jets are flying all over. They're not even leaving a contrail." 2 weeks later, Mardi Gras is coming. We're seeing trails from one end of the sky to the other end of the sky, crisscrossing to each other.
And the higher the plane, the longer it lasts as well.
Yeah. So and then some of them are not actually. Of this stuff. Well, some of them are not actually either one. Some of them are from a pulse drive, which leaves a long trail for some reason. But you can see it.
Oh,
it has curlicues in the stream itself.
Joe.
Curlicues.
Jay.
What?
Guess what? Matt and I were sitting in the car in the parking lot of the golf course eating our Taco Bell dinner, and we were both looking up at the sky, and we saw a UFO for sure.
Cool.
It was not a drone. and all of a sudden it disappeared and shot off like a warp speed, like a hyperdrive was initiated.
There's no telling what it was either, because it's weird. But there's a lot of stuff out there, like I said, flying around that's ours.
Well, I mean, it didn't resemble a plane, that's for sure, because we live next to an airport and we saw planes
Well,
flying
I mean,
by.
especially if it went straight up. I mean, if it went straight up from like a dead, like no, like it wasn't going anywhere, and all of a sudden it goes as fast as you can straight up, that's definitely not any of our technology.
It was hovering for a minute, and then it just stood there, and then it disappeared, and then it shot off. Like it just went, and you saw like a trail following it, but the trail disappeared too.
I've seen them exhibit like blue and or purple and orange streaks.
Let's see. No, Jesse, we what St. Patty's parade? St. Patty was last week. What are you talking about?
Yep, actually, it was 3 days ago.
Yeah, it was Monday. What do you mean? Why is it not always? What are you talking about? Always
2 days ago. Excuse me, 2 days ago.
Yeah, it was on Monday. Moondala. Yeah. Yes, Jack. We're gonna do a show on going to Mars pretty soon. It's we're also gonna do a show on Alfred Weber and them talking about who lives on Mars.
I think we'll title that show about going to Mars. We'll call that Moonraker.
Yeah, sounds good. Elon said he's going to join us that night, by the way, so y'all can come check it out and see what he's got to say.
Cool.
You're silly.
He's going to be like, what a Joe. We're going to Mars, Joe.
As a matter of fact, his new role as coach, he's obligated to talk to at least one public radio station, and that's us.
Yes. He says, I'm going to speak with Joe about going to Mars.
I'm not buying it.
Actually, he is so hard to get. So the blonde woman who does his bookings and all, she's tough, man. I had to negotiate with her.
Well, isn't she on Trump's? Isn't she Trump's AG now?
I don't know what she is, but no, that's Pam Bondi.
Try again, maybe you get through.
I probably have a better chance of getting an interview with Pam Bondi. Actually, it's well, I did, Jimmy. So they told me it'd be about 2 weeks. They got to run a background check and all that stuff. I'm gonna make them nervous as soon as my name comes up.
Bring Bob Lazar on.
I've had Bob on. I've talked to him a couple times over the years. He's
I'd like to talk to him. He's a pretty cool dude, it seems.
He's I don't know if I still got any contact. He moves around so much, it's hard to keep up contact information on. But I'll see if not, maybe we'll do an internet hunt.
Do you know anyone that works for CERN?
Yes.
Yeah, bring on somebody that is an insider at CERN.
I tried. Their English sucks.
Aw.
It's actually more than once. I tried three different scientists. They were just it was I felt for our listeners because it was very, very hard to understand them. And we've had other shows like that with people with heavy accents, and I got a bad accent myself, so I shouldn't be hating. But it was just too much because it were great questions, and I knew the answers were great, but it was just too. And even though their English wasn't bad, it just was not understandable. What it came down to. I don't know. Maybe we can find somebody over there who's speaking a good English. Now, I know they had some English scientists there, so I'm not sure why all the ones that talked to us wanted to be Scandinavian.
I think they should have an actual spokesperson who should be willing to talk with us.
They did. He came on. His English was horrible. Well, his accent was horrible. But that was a couple of years ago, so I don't even know if it's the same person. Because when I got a letter back, I wrote to him originally, and it said, "This isn't about the world coming to end." I said, "No, I have a PhD in science. I mean, a bachelor's in science." I said, "I'm not ignorant." Oh, okay. And see, it helps me when they found that I got a science background. They like that idea. So they're like, "Oh, well, we'll come talk to you. You're not so much asshole."
I really want to open a discussion about conspiracy theories, like deep rabbit hole kind of stuff.
Oh, well, they just opened 2,182 files at the National Archives that are related to the JFK assassination. So once everyone sifts through all that, there's going to be lots of. Oh, well, yeah, that's not the wrong time for it, but someone already did say something about what happened with the CIA.
Well, I want to know more about like what Antarctica's hiding and what's under, like why can't we go past a certain point, into Antarctica? Like what did Admiral Byrd see?
The Aryans who allegedly lived there. The people that Hitler was looking for in India and Pakistan and the east, the far east, they were down in Antarctica. The Aryans.
Well, I can tell you this: people always say, "Oh, we can't fly over Antarctica." That's true. Commercial planes can, but military planes can.
Yeah. Well, certain military planes.
Right, there's bases there.
3 of them: Russian, Chinese, and American. And in most of those places, no-fly zone. So it makes you wonder what the scientists are doing down there, since it's a no-fly zone. But it's not the only place on our planet there's no-fly zone, so I don't really lose that much sleep over it. And if they're doing something horrific, that's the best place to do it because it won't come here and get us. Hopefully not, anyway.
I want to talk about Stargate. I want to talk about like opening portals to other dimensions. I want to know what.
Well, you know what? You should be here with Jay when I'm on vacation.
Okay.
That's because I'll be traveling. I'll probably stop in because I like to come harass everybody. But
yeah,
Wednesday's gonna be a tough night for me. I think that's usually the barbecue night. A bunch of other stuff goes on there, so I may decide to go to church while I'm there or something. So,
what, the Church of Scientology?
Oh, indeed not. I was talking about a Catholic church. It's yes, the ones with the big crosses and stuff like that. Go back. I need to go refresh myself so I can put the get back, Satan. Back, Satan. What's that, Jeffries? No, really. No, we got to go though.
You should go to the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
Oh, that's okay. They're crazy.
That's a good question.
All churches are crazy.
I guess I can't argue with that. We got to go
maybe for another show, but we can't answer it right now. But that is a good question.
What's the question?
Could the Zetas cartel be related to the Zeta Reticuli and those gray aliens?
I imagine all the gray aliens are come from the same original race. What the hell they are today, like the reptilians. The reptilians were one species and now they're 12 or 15 tribes or something. So still the same race. They just are different. Different but the same.
Yeah. Different but equal.
Some have wings.
Different but different and not equal because they do have a caste system. So
yeah, they have a caste system. They do.
I'm sure we're pretty low on that system.
But we are protected by whatever caste we're part of.
People have said that there's multiple races of beings, like a lot. Like there's like the mantids and the avian race where they resemble birds, and there's
Aquarian races that live underwater all their lives. Yeah.
Yeah, so I want to hear about some of those contacts because I don't know. I'm not familiar with it. I've only seen the grays.
They don't exist. They don't exist.
See, that's what I'm saying. I don't think they don't either.
They don't exist. There's really and truly, as far as evidence goes, there's only evidence that for 5 races that visit this planet. I mean, real evidence where there's multiple sightings from multiple people with other things being left behind and stuff going. Other than that, I mean, if you want to throw the light beams in, you can say 6, but.
Oh, what about the Bigfoots? The Chewbacca's?
I don't know. Lloyd Pye thought they were Cro-Magnon Neanderthal evolved. That's what he thought.
Yeah, I think that I'm with I can't remember his name. Jeff Meldrum, I think. Dr. Jeff Meldrum. He thinks it's Gigantopithecus or a strain of
Oh, you know what?
Or Arthropithecus. I can't pronounce
just the other day in China, they found the big face, big head human species. And he's kind of hairy. It looks kind of like Bigfoot. I'll have to find an article for Friday night, but I just ran across it just the other day. I was just skimming through, and it popped up on my screen.
That's probably Australopithecus then.
Yeah, it was found in China, so we'll have to find out what it is. But we got to go, guys.
Australopithecus. That's Lucy, isn't it?
No, the 2 species that Jeff Meldrum thinks that the Bigfoot might be is either Gigantopithecus or Australopithecus. For another night. We need to end it.
Yes, we're getting ready to get out of here. No, ladies and gentlemen, because we have a show coming on. Actually, it's probably on by now.
Yeah, she started already.
Homo Julianus.
Hmm.
Whatever the hell that means. Anyway, we'll find
Sounds
out.
like one of my cousins.
I know it sounds stupid. I'm probably butchering the pronunciation. Anyway, on that note, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank everyone for tuning in to United Public Radio with UFO Undercover with Jay, Leah, and myself, Joe. So it's JJL, or no, it's JL and J. There we go, JL and J.
Yeah.
Yes, LNJJL. Anyway, we got to go. We'll be here Friday night, wreaking havoc. We will be talking about the release of the JFK documents. A couple other things that have gone on we'll be talking about. We'll probably be talking about what you just heard us talking about the giant Chinese that they the giant Chinese face, whatever, that'll work for me. Mr. Face, the face of Bo, that'll work. Whatever, that all works for me. We'll probably be talking about that as well, plus whatever news is going on. We will be talking about what's been going on with Doge and wonderful stuff like that, and what's Russian, how the Russian and Ukrainian, well, what is it? Do we want to call it peace? What are we calling this? Partial
ceasefire?
Yeah, partial ceasefire. And then, of course, Israel going back to bombing the bejesus out of Palestinians. We'll be talking about that. We'll also be talking about Iran and Syria as well. So tune in for all of that. Like I said, that's all been topics for this show. But on that night, good night, and we will see y'all
Tomorrow?
Friday.
No.